What's up, chat? I'm gonna do a build tutorial today on one of the raid bases I've been using in a solo custom server. It's been pretty solid. And is somewhat modular. Now let's get over to a flat area and start building. we get a spot now. Let's try to get it even. Right. Should be good enough. A little bug over there. Right. Alright, we'll start with the middle. Just about right here. We're gonna build in a pattern that you can tell the direction because it's going to matter later. Be nice if I could get... Should be good enough. Alright. We want... I'll build out the center. Make sure to pay attention to the direction your triangles are going. You want the... I'll just show you, for instance. Okay. So you have something on it. You see how the lines... If you were to go put something on the wall, it'd be like this. Couldn't get it on there. That's why these matter. In some cases, you'll want to turn it, though. Try to get all of these parallel, going the right way around. My scroll wheel's all screwed up, so that's why my stuff jumps. Okay. Now we have the core. This is what it looks like. Just solid triangles with the directionals. Yeah, this is where it matters. This is where... Okay, say this is our front. Start with halves. I'm gonna start building in this now. I'm also gonna go and revert all of these to default. Now that they are all directional in the way I want them for later. When I go to put things down. There's different variants of inner core that you can do with this build. You can make it claustrophobic, or you can make it open hallway like I like to do. I'm going to show you mainly a defensive build technique that will help you when it comes to building your base or planning a build for your base. And we're going to start with wall stacking. To do this, if I want to stack, I'll build the wall first. Okay, this is my base. Inside of it doesn't matter. That's all your personal layout. I'll let you do your personal layout. Start with 2 halves and a double door. Come to the inside and aim out towards it. Make sure it's facing outwards. I don't think it matters in the last tier, but wood, stone, and just regular metal, it's directional, so I believe it takes less, or it takes more damage from the back side, or soft side. Now these are all triangles coming out this way. Now what you do, one square foundation all the way around on each corner. Take caps lock on and off if it has an issue snapping. Now here's another part you're gonna have to do, is a triangle at the end of it. This is more along the lines of scaffolding these two pieces here. So if you want to build out of just wood so you can save your mats, you can do that, because we'll be deleting these. And the purpose you'll see here in a second. Oop. Purpose here you'll see in a second. Okay. Now that you have them all deleted, this is where the directional matters. At least for me it does, because I like to put things on these and I want to make sure that they are parallel with the walls that go around them. Now, starting from this triangle, you'll go back left 4 on each of these triangles and parallel with the triangle that you're going off of. I'll try to speed this process up a little bit here. You gotta work with me here. My scroll wheel's annoying. Okay. You see how that one triangle right here is lining up with the doorway? You'll see why that's important here in a second. Alright. And now we delete these. Okay. Now you were looking at something like this. Now we delete the skin on it, so you can see it in a unskinned max leveled up tier. It's first build video / stream, so I'm trying to explain it the best I can here. So this is what you're looking at. You get a little gap here, and because of this gap, unlike other base building games, this one you can wall stack pretty close. So you'll go around aiming the walls outwards, because the idea is somebody rockets in and blows a wall out, they're gonna have to go through multiple layers of your walls. Now you can't just go through and spam walls. Well, you can, but it's not very efficient because you have 700 build limit in raid zone servers. So I like to aim this one here specifically. I like to aim this one outwards because this will be an outer side. So we'll continue with aiming these out. And then this one corner here out. Put that one in the wrong spot. Okay. I like to do this open here. You can. Okay, first of all, let's put our first door frame here. So we have a double door frame here. It lines up nice and clean. Now you can do this. Or this with if you have glass pack, you can make an airlock, a double airlock. Now this design carries over to these. Now these outer, I guess trapezoid would be the right term maybe. These outer trapezoid areas that are orange right now can be used for defensive guard positions. I didn't find myself using them very much, so I closed them in as just an extra layer of honeycombing. Just to deter from facing or blowing through face side. But continue around with these. This is part of the budget in the build. These are. I figured these part into the budget, so. Alright, now go and find your small triangle. And this is where you will line this up with these. Like so. I don't really think the direction on this little triangle really matters too much, because there's nothing going to be placed inside of it. This is just a snap point that you will need. And it also... There we go. Okay. Now we grab one of these half panels and rotate this. And you will do this all the way around, closing this gap. So there is no more gap. You have to shoot this way to go through this, and that's why this one's turned. But I don't think you can shoot through that. This just adds another honeycomb layer. Plus it's important for the roof later on. Alright. Now we can continue to honeycomb these parts in. Or you can put half wall. Shooting window. All the way around, if you want. These are just optional, do what you want with. I am going to switch them all to default before I cover anything else up. Okay. Now we can continue to box the rest of these in. There we go. This is your layout. Currently. Front door access right here. Now this door access can be repeated on the opposite side if you want. You don't have to. Ideally, this is all you really need to know until you get to the roof. There's multiple ways you can go about doing your jump ups to get to the higher levels. You can do staircases. You can do triangle quarter step, which I'll show you here, is what I do. Personally, I like to opposite side the door of my main door on the first room, like so, and then I'll put the doorway there, and I'll go in for single doors Single door, single door, single door, single door. Like so. We'll get the center. There we go. Just close all this in. This is where you'll have to figure out where you want your jump up to be. I like mine to be right here in the back side of it where the other part of the loot room is. Just to make it farther away from the entrance, as many doors as I can possibly make, either way in. It's usually a good, it's a good thought to have in the back of your head is how many doors does it take to get to my terminal? How many doors does it take to get to my stash room? Or my loot room? Or my spawn room? You always want to keep those in mind when you're building your base. Also, how easy is it for me to get to point A to point B to defend, you know, whatever's happening? It be somebody rocketing or trying to climb up on a staircase and drop on your roof. There's multiple things people can do to try to raid your base. So what I like to do, now we're coming in from front side. Come in front side. You go through your airlock. We have closed off room here. Is usually what I have. So what I'll do is I'll remove this here and I will do just a regular wall right here, like so. This here is like my crafting furnace room. Once I get done building the main layout of the base and just the general idea of what I would do on the internals, because the internals for 3 layers up is completely up to you. In this double layer triangle, this orange area here, go up 3 layers and do whatever you want for the inside, because that's your layout. You don't want to go off of a YouTube build and have somebody be able to go door to door and know exactly where everything in your base is because you copy it at bar for bar. So figure out, you know, use the ideas of how I would do the inside and then, you know, move it around a little bit. So that way it's not always going to be the same. Now I use these here with a floor wherever I'm going to have a jump up. This triangle that I'm putting down matters if you put fire traps. Like if you want a fire trap in that back corner, try to parallel it like this so it can be on that back corner aiming up, because you can also, here, let me get rid of the triangle. You can also, at the top here, I should probably just put the walls up first. At least the center core. It's a little easier to explain that way. You also have to pay attention to your load bearing capacity, because that matters as well. That determines how high you can build up on a certain support structure. So we're going to go up 3 layers. Like that. Now these outer ones here, you only go 1 layer. Only 1 layer with that. The rest of this, you will mimic 3 layers on your outer honeycomb. Sometimes they don't like to snap exactly where you want them to, so try to find a different angle to come at it. Once humans build systems constantly evolving, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but right now it is what it is, so I don't mind it too much. The snap points could use a little work. The rotation feature could also use a little work. on remembering exactly which way you had to turn. Alright. So again, just repeating this up. Now with this one here, I don't. This one here, I do. And the reason why I don't on this specific one here is because I will put a ceiling on this back side of it. This side right here will have a ceiling. Like that. This one doesn't need one. If you want to save one singular build piece, I try to min-max as many build pieces as I can out of it. And I'm still doing this orange filter on the skin on the build just so I can get the orientation of the triangle. And you'll continue with your walls. Make sure your directional is placing right, especially if you're on a lower tier build. Okay, inside, that's closed off right here. And you have entrance, ceiling, continuing with the honeycomb stack. Also, another thing to remember is when somebody blows up a wall below, say they blow up this wall here, sometimes it'll stick, but sometimes if it doesn't have enough structure support, it'll break the one above it as well too. So it's important to remember with the roof parts that there is a chance that when you're sitting on them and somebody explodes a floor or a wall underneath of you, you can lose that ramp you're standing on and fall. Okay, make sure this inner one here is facing outwards. Just in case somebody blows this up, they can't just soft side that side. Okay, now that we have the outer honeycomb stacked up to 3. Foundation, 1, 2, 3. Now you'll come on to the half side walls and raise those up as well. You'll see why they're important here in a second. As soon as I get all of these built out, I'll show you. Now this particular build is a edit of somebody's I've seen in the distant past. Can't quite remember who I saw it from, but I also changed quite a bit on this specific build. Okay, now that you have your walls stacked up, you want to go around your roof. We'll pretend like the center is all done. You have it all the way capped off, similar to what I'm doing with the sides here. If I can get my rotation wheel to work. Alright, 1 second. Oh. We're gonna go around with small triangles. Right here. And these ones I like to make parallel with those. Same with these. See how the wall connects to it? It's important for support here in a second when I do the roofs. The roof pieces. Alright. Also makes it so you can walk over it and not have to worry about falling down in. Okay. Now you have an interlocked braid kind of design. These little houses, depending on what you did with them. Now comes the roof part. Or pretend like you did all your interior. And then we will... I'll do a quick interior. Okay. Jump up is here. Jump up. Let me see. Door. Alright. Let's test the jump up. You come in the doors. Alright, you jump up, open the door, and then you jump up again to climb up. I know I had it backwards. Okay. Okay, now... Alright, yeah. Door, and then open door, jump up. And you have storage. You can have another jump up here. Sup? Yeah, I'm doing a build video kinda. And now that you come up to this, Guess you could do the jump up right here. Now with this jump up, you can get it placed right. Of course. There, and then this is the one. I'll put a double door frame up like that. This is the only one that's raised like that. And we cap it off. Making sure everything is going around properly like this. I wish my scroll wheel worked properly, dude. It's so annoying. Alright, that one's out. Right there. It's your directional. It's your front. Alright, now we do roof. Start with squares on the edges. I do not suggest using glass panels on the roof. People can render glitch through them. Okay. Your flats. Let's see if this works on here. Some servers it doesn't. Okay, it works. If this doesn't work, you're having a hard time getting these to snap, you can also use, it's a little more expensive, but there are smaller pieces that you can go like this. I believe it's this one here. Like that. Like so. But we're gonna stick with the way that I know it works right now, because this is the original way to do it. Plus it's a lot cheaper. Save a couple builds. Alright, now that we have those pieces, you're gonna look for the small triangle, the 1/4 triangle, and connect these corners here for a small gap. You can peek through this and you can shoot through that. It's very useful for looking at people that are on your walls or trying to ramp over exterior walls. It's a great peek. I've used it quite a bit in PvP. Now, that's your cone that you would use for defense. Now we make areas where they can't stand on because these specific roof pieces, you just slide off of them. You can stand on them if you spam jump, but you can't fight off of it. We'll add these here underneath. I'll redo a couple of these outside ones with the defense barricade, but alright, glass is also really OP with this build. You can, if you have it, even if you don't, I would suggest you build this top cone area here to put turrets on looking down, so you can come up out of your base without getting shot or door camped. We start with the triangle pieces. And we look for the inverted ones. we turn these to glass if you have glass pack. If you don't, then you just don't turn them to glass. And you can't see out. If you have glass, this gives you a little window to be able to see out. Okay. I like to make my door symmetrical. So, I remove this one piece here. I look for this corner piece. And then mirror it. And rotate. And then a double door. And then we'll turn all of this to glass so I can see out, so I can make sure nobody's door camping. And then these, I'll make sure they are also directional for the turrets on top. The one thing in this game might have awesome wall stacking, very easy to do, but the floors that you place down matter for the things that you place on top of them. The directional grid that they are isn't world grid. It's per foundation, per floor. It matters. So make sure your orientation of your floors is lining up. It also helps when you go to print your stuff. Your prints line up and looks all nice. That extra couple seconds it takes to get it all lined up matters, and then it'll save you a big headache. Okay. Now we have, this is pretty much your main base. You're looking at around 500 builds. There's no doors on it currently. I can throw the doors on and see what a total cost is. I do glass on these outer three. So I can see anybody that's sitting out here. And then these inner two, I will do any kind of solid door that you can't see through. Okay. Let me come out front so I can show you the entrance as we're working our way through the base. Kind of understand the flow of the base. Alright. Can also put a staircase here, but I'm not going to, just to save builds. I'm only going to put the necessities of the build in. Alright, we have double doors here, and then you come through this, you just spam open. You got a double door there. Alright. With these doors, I like to make sure that the handle is facing towards the center of the base and not the outside wall, just for the rotation that the way the door opens. So we'll have these like that. Can have a log out area or a terminal area. And over this way. Copy this door. Same thing, handle aiming in. And our double door. Alright. Now, there's plenty of ways you can do your crafting room. This one doesn't give you max benches, so... Oh, it does? Okay, never mind. I'm trying to think of how I want to do this so it looks good, but also I'm not using pieces people don't have. Okay, we'll start with the advanced. We'll start with the benches. Put the benches down. Okay, see how the floor, each one of these pieces. Here, I'll put a print down. The wood will help. They're all parallel with the wall that they're connected to. That makes putting down facilities a lot easier. So, I'm looking at my main wall. What I usually like to do is I like to put bench here. My gear bench right over here. Depending on your server rates, you might need one, maybe two. I believe you should be able to fit two there. Okay. Fridge. Right up into that corner, you see that box? I use that box as a reference, and then you can usually get two in there. And a box, a seed box, extra heal box. You can also turn this box and you can stack even bigger boxes there. This is just what I currently am using. So I'm just using my current build as a reference on what I have in here. Put the stove in there. So you have all of your crafting. Everything you need to make is right here you can make. And we go up. This is where your first jump up door is. Make sure it's directional, aiming in towards the center doors. Okay, you'll back up just a little bit away from the door till you get... Okay, I built it too close. I gotta come back out. Oh, yeah, I remember now. I know why it's not working. This one here. Okay, jump up. Jump up would be here. I guess it doesn't really matter. Because I have... On mine, I have the jump up right here. On the first. And then it comes up. This way. 2A. Double door. Like so. This is in here. It's a solid wall. So coming up. Fix this floor. We'll work our way through it this way. That way I know what I'm doing here. Okay, come up through the double door into a single door. Rotation towards the center. This will bring us to our first loot room or bedroom. I like to make this my loot room, so what I do, I like to have the loot in the core of the bed or in the base. Do 2 of these and 2 of these for stability. And we use a floor. We also have to make sure the orientation of these floors is proper. Okay. Remove that. Bring this one over here, repair, bring that over here, repair. Honestly, I think you could start with it over here. But we're making sure that the shelf, if I can get my scroll wheel to work. There we go. Just making sure that this lines up. So when we go to put things underneath of it or on top of it, it's parallel with the wall behind it. Yeah, see, this one needs support. There. Okay, this should have a decent amount of support. I'll go with facilities, and we will grab 2 of these, and then go in flight, and then caps lock to remove this corner here, corner there. Caps lock back on for grid. Now we'll put some chest in for an example of what you can fit in here. Here we got one there. One there. Hey, you want to have them hanging out a little bit so that way you can still interact with them. These ones here, I like to put early game. If I don't have like a lot of chests down, I only have a couple down. I like to do weapon and armor, opposite sides. Late game, I'll replace these and put gunpowder and explosive mixture. So that way, just the way that I dump mats into the storage, it works for me. And then put the top of these, push these back just a little bit. You can still interact with them. Should leave you just enough room with the secure mat. Good note is there's a you can see the square here. The box sits like right in the middle. Yeah, you see it? Boom. So you should be able to fit quite a few boxes in this one area. And you can do this up top too. Okay, this is your loot room. Probably mid-game. I would say mid-game loot room. Now if you're playing on retail and you have them, or if you're on custom and you have them, the straight line wall rack is another thing you can use to put crates down. These are where I will late game stack my weapon racks and armor racks. When you can do this, right, and you see that free move, that means it's on the edge. Okay, now I'll grab that and put that right just above it. There. So I get 4 on this side. 4 armors on the other side. And then we'll do the armor ones on this side. I'll try to full furnish it too, so you can kind of get an idea of unskinned what it looks like with all the assets put down, so you can kind of get an idea of movement room, like the movement around it, how much room you have to move. Maybe some ideas maybe you want to change up. So a lot of optional things you can do with the base. Okay. That's what I like to do, because then if I need to get to weapons and stuff, I can. There. Mats. explosives, extra stuff. If you need to get to these guys, you can get to these guys. Now you can get stuck here. Just roll. Dodge roll like that. You'll get off right off of it. Alright. This is about all. Now the reason why I put the gap there is for furniture, radio. The radio fits right in between. And you should be able to still turn it on. There's your radio for these. The fifth one you can put up top in your bedroom for your combat, or you can try to squeeze them on here. I don't like to over claustrophobia or claustrophize or whatever the word would be for it. I don't like to stack shit together too much. I like to be able to get to it pretty easily. So this is what you're looking at for a storage room. Start doing the doors over here. Continue with the doors looking inwards towards the center door. And this is where I would put the jump up, I think. Yeah. This one here. So we're going to remove this one. We're going to move these down here. Move that. We'll grab another double door to block off this hallway. Right. Right. So you come here. Climb up. And you have your bedroom. Bedroom, I do. Let me get this door here. Get all the doors in, or at least try to. I think this is the way up. And this. Come up. Bedroom. Can do the same. Honestly, you don't need that much. So maybe like this. Okay, yeah, you do need support for these. Alright. Which way is which? Doesn't really matter. Okay, now get these like that. Facility, furniture, we need a bed. So you put a bed down. Spawn, and then you can fill this in with boxes as well. Can do lockers on the side. Then I like to do my box of rockets and C4 up at the top, turret ammos. Things that you would need in a hurry. Just extra storage. Alright. Then we can do our last. Deviant. And then I believe some servers have where is it? Yeah. Deviant's turned off, but some don't. So you can, if you move it just right, you can get it to snap, and you can have multiple of these for your deviants. Use extra room for decorations or whatever. And now, this is where the jump up will be for this. So I'll move this piece here. And then quarter walls, aim the wall in. If you want to put like a fire trap there or whatever. And then when you're building and lower grades, it's gonna be hard to make sure that your soft side isn't aiming in the wrong way. So just aim this towards the outside of this hole here. You're just gonna have to keep an eye on that part there. And then you double door it off, and this should be pretty much secured. Now you have, oh, forgot the door. Put glass on this one so I can see through it. Okay. There it is. Then you take your terminal, and you can either put it here, and doors off. I would suggest going up to your double door, and you have your your storage, and then you go up again. Oop. Back up a little bit. Go up again and around. That's your jump up. How did I do this? Unintentionally did it different, but kind of better than the one that I have on the live. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how I wanted to do this. To be honest with you, I might put it down in that where I said I don't recommend. Put it right here. Take this door. This is the front entrance coming in. Gonna remove this. And place a solid wall instead. So you go left into this, then up, and then this will put a little cheeky this is the backside, right? Yep. We'll do an extra honeycomb there. A single door here and here. There. So when you're looking at the jump up, you have your door going up, and then we have a door here going to TC with it aiming in. So it's not annoying. Let me go back down so I can show the reasoning for that. This also gives you room for like shotgun traps, fire traps, different things to the base. Okay. This here. Because we have a jump up on the other side, we're going to close this here. Copy this. like that. Now we have a way to get up here, so it's clean going that way. Alright. Here we go. Solid. Plenty of storage room. Easily defendable. Just spiral your way up to the roof. Oop, forgot a door. There it is. There's your roof. You can see if anybody's roof camping you. You can see anybody's door camping you. Shoot out if anybody's here. Now, what I would suggest is finding the center. If you need micro adjustments, try going back like this and then forward. Like that. To get. Instead of trying to go back and forth for a million, just go back slightly. You can get a lot smaller, minute movements that way. So we're going to try to line this up with the door. Try to make it as even as possible. I believe this line, low key, yeah, this line low key is like right in the middle. I wish I could get it to lower to the ground. But I think that's about even right there. Come out to this line. And I believe that is... It's not really even, but... I need to get this. It matters because the outside wall gets dangerously close to the sides of your base. And you want to make sure you're giving yourself just enough room to be able to squeeze through the wall. Because if not, it'll be a pain in the ass to deal with. Or we use that line. Perfect. Alright. Now we have our front door. It should have just enough room to take a staircase, a half staircase, and just barely not be in reach of it. That should give you just enough room, and it should be pretty even all the way around. So now, we'll go back, get some more of these walls. I don't really think these matter too much direction-based wise. Yeah, you can only go around one way. Alright. We'll try to get a... These things are so bad. They just don't turn the way you want them to turn. I'm hoping I get this straight. It's an issue you'll have to deal with where some of the walls won't snap together. So you'll have to figure out how to get that to work. Alright, see if we can get these one. Oop. Now this is probably the most expensive part of your base is doing the walls. Because they never want to line up. Ever. They're very stubborn. Maybe we'll try. To get them to line up somehow. Anyway. It's one thing I think they should definitely work on is the walls, because the walls don't work properly. But the inner wall should come to right there. Should be able to get an outer wall like that. You can remove these ones. This will give you the room there. I wish I could get these to snap properly. It's kind of ruining the whole thing. The issue is trying to make sure these are straight. Don't want to snap. Well, at least I chose a really flat area to try to build this, so it's not going to be exactly perfect where you're building unless you end up getting this exact area to build in. There's a couple other areas that are pretty nice to build in that are super flat, but yeah, see, now it wants to snap. Which one is it snapping to? I think the new one. Okay. Yeah, I can't get these to snap. Let's try this side. Sometimes you can get them to if you spam all the points at it, sometimes you can get them to get the right snap, but the majority of the time that won't happen. Yeah, walls are probably the most annoying thing to work with in this game right now. How much do these overlap? Very little. Alright. Alright. Why are they not snapping together? Just don't. It's weird. But ideally, actually, you don't want to go out that far. Oh, here we go. And it stopped. Of course it did. Alright. Get rid of these ones, it's too far out. But you'll do this all the way around. And you'll try to fit a foundation in each of these corners to put a turret aiming inwards. I also have... Where are they? These pulse traps. A good way to measure where to put them be something like this. With a small triangle, it'll give you this. And then you can find kind of around about the center. Something like that. There, all the way around. That will keep people from being able to stand right underneath your base. With the turrets, that'll help quite a bit. All the outer defense is purely situational as well, because it depends on the terrain that you're building on. This base and the interior, say we don't have any of this wall, you could put this on top of a mountaintop. And it'd be a lot different. Defensive walls. Let's see if they give us an extra one here. Yeah, they do. Okay. So you have a TC out here. You can remove these. I'm hoping it doesn't completely, it shouldn't. Okay. And then you'll copy your things like so. And to secure it, we will do on this side. Oop. Mirror it. And these little pieces right here will give you the anchor you need for this door frame that is giving me a pain in the ass trouble to get fit in there. It will go in there. There it is. Okay, now you have the door in there. Throw a door. You can throw a door. You can throw a door in there. You throw a door in there, like so. You can do this on the backside too if you have another terminal. Say this is your main base. I'll have to wait. I'll do one at a time, but it still stands. Facility, you'll take this here. Give it a little bit of space, maybe to the edge, something like that. Okay. Because you want it on the back side of the door so they can't zipline into the base. You'll add a little just for directional. This piece here doesn't really matter, but I like to do it anyway. Alright. Now you have a catch. Grab one of these. It's on this piece here. So you'll stay in your in here. And then attempt to get this foundation like so. All right. Now you have the foundation like so. You got mats or whatever like that. You come over here, land down. You're in front of your base. trying to remember how I did this. This is a really cool looking design, the way I had it. I might be able to improve on it too. Alright. Door. 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 Upside down triangles. Wait, we'll do roof first, roof first, roof first. Triangle roofs. In, in, in. The design of this one specifically is purely optional, by the way. It just looks cool, I think. That's why I did it. Gonna need ceiling for a snap point. These will matter, undirectional. For turrets on top. Okay, we'll do a little trifecta there. Go back to the walls. Make sure they're lined up. Before I mirror them, I like to go around on each one of these. And then mirror it. And rotate. Alright. And then we put a airlock in each one of these with a single door. In these, I like to put glass. If you have glass, it's a good spot to use it for the airlocks, so you can make sure nobody's door camping you. Alright. A little expensive on the doors, but okay, these ones I like to aim, like I said, in towards the center of the base, so they don't get in the way when you're opening the doors, trying to jump in real quick if you're getting chased down or, you know, any of that. These can also be changed to glass as well, the doors, so you can see, it gives you more visual. Alright, there's your base. Now you take your terminal and put it anywhere really in here. Alright. Your double doors. These I don't do glass. People don't need to see that your terminal's literally right in here. Alright. And it's secured. And you can build out of this as you're building. Now, I do frames. The centers. I go up 2. Keep in mind we're 3 high now. We'll grab the floor again. We connect the floor all the way around in the connected pattern, so it's parallel with the outer walls. Alright. Solid, solid. For a little bit of stability, we can throw a double pillar in. Give a little bit more stability in the center. Really doesn't matter. These are just defensive posts that you'll use to make sure people aren't, you know, sitting outside your walls. These are to get outside your walls. Just imagine you have your wall going around. These are to go outside your walls. These are your external TCs if you're coming from Rust. If not, these are basically just defensive posts designed to not be part of your main base and share a upkeep that's not part of your main base. So if these get raided, it's not a super big deal, but it's just to keep people from snapping their base next to you. Now solos, it's a lot harder to prevent this, but people can build on the outside of your territories. So they can just wall up and then staircase up to climb over. That's what the outer walls are designed for. And that's why I have the turrets facing in. So when they jump over, the turret shoots them. Or they get too close to the base and they get shocked. So it's like a pit of death. These on the outside of the wall will give you a position to where you can shoot back at people on the outside of the wall that haven't made it in yet, or just an outer defense. If you have multiple people on your team, this also works really well too. Now, before we get any farther with this, let's do our double door wall facing out, and then our facility zip line. Give it a little bit of space. And then a door. This one I like to put a glass door so I can see where, you know, people are. Utilize the glass. Alright. Making sure that the rotation's right. Alright, you're kind of seeing this come together here. Now we do window frame. It's kind of like a base and like outer defense TC protection guide all in one. Right. Now we have that. So a roof on it. So nobody can stand on the top of it. They'll slide right off. Or they have to jump a million times to stay up there and they can't aim down sight and shoot. Well, or they can, but it's harder. Anything to make it more annoying, really. Alright. Now we take this. It'll probably be easier if I remove this door for a second. I don't know if I can get... Yeah. So the way I do this is I go back to the base. Because usually I have these right on the outside, right up next to. So... Go back to the base, stand in here. Over X. And X. And then you can put the door on. There we go. Take a couple of hand railings on each of these. So you can kind of use it as a peek as well. Like if you bail out of a jump, you can also use it as a peek. Kind of peek down and shoot people who are shooting at you. Okay, this is where the magic happens with this tower though. Let me get on the outside here. Show you where the magic happens. Now, it's been a minute since I played on RaidZone, but they have MLRS now. Or something similar to it. If you take these little balcony pieces, you can create a box underneath of your thing to... Oh, they don't have them on here. You can pick them up from the supply drops. I'll put the turrets down so you can kind of get an idea of the trap design coming together here. We need our backsplash walls so they can't be shot in the back. I know turrets in RaidZone aren't directional. They can shoot 180 or 360 pretty much, so not too much to worry about there, but for the sake of symmetry and for the sake of appearance, we'll do that. Have our hourglass. A little bit more stability as well. Throw in a turret. And try to bring it as far forward as you can. So it can still shoot down. It looks like it's going to set right on that line there. And you have one aiming back towards the base. So if somebody's on your wall, this will still shoot at them. Now you're just going to have to imagine that there is the rocket things here, but the rocket things shoot up and out. And they keep people from flying in. You can put one on the center there with 3 turrets aiming out. And that's pretty much all you really have to do for this tower. You can get fancy with it. And add some supports like that. This is what I have in mind. Alright. Get these evened out. Alright, something like that. There, now you have 3 lockers for reset. I believe I can, no. Well, you can, but I wouldn't suggest it. Let's try to use stairs. Try to use no skin on it. Try to give you an angles where you can kind of go up. These stairs are such a pain. There we go. Alright, let's go back to the base and go up to the top. Now for the reason of this, I'll put the a gate down just so you kind of get an idea of the reasoning behind this. So say we have a gate and our walls going all the way around our base. Oop. If I can get them to line up at least a little bit. That's good enough. Alright. Got our base going around. Or our wall going around our base. Our outer wall. Let's go up to the top. Okay, you open the door, walk backwards, zip line. You're over your wall. Now you're in your shooting floor. These here, decent head height, little head glitch, or walk around, shoot down. You can also use these for peaks. Reason why I use the default one is because every other one has a railing, so But this gives you a spot you can put a sleeping bag down as well. You can take and put your sleeping bag right here. Right there. Nice little respawn tower. And to get back, it's back enough. Your main base. Just like that. And up here, you can do turrets. Don't come to the edges as far as you can. So keep people off your roof. Then you have all of this room in here for power. If you have big generators, you can do a couple here. I believe it max is 5, so you could probably do 5 around, honestly. Try not to have them bleeding through the wall too much, because people, I believe, they can still do damage to them. So, should give you just enough. Should give you just enough room to have your 5, and then maybe a water catcher up in the top. So you would do. Maybe you could put this here. Have your water come up here. Or whatever. Could do water right there. Could do storage. Could do a couple drop boxes here. Really up to you. But it's main idea. And these little towers on the outside, they give you 3 spots for the MLRS protection, your turrets facing in, and on the inside, I'd suggest you use the large solar panel. Use the large solar panels and just wherever you can fit them in, really. It's close enough. There. You get all 5 in here, and then you can put a thing down to connect them, and then I would put another one down to connect all your traps. So power to this, and then all of these. Connect all your power sources into one plug, basically. And then send that plug out to its own. Because I believe it's 8 connections you can have onto one of these plugs. So you want to maximize this. This will give you 7 here. So now, you can go out from these. This will give you 1 here. 1 here. There, and then you have the 3 other for here, and then it'll leave you 1 open if you want to do a floating turret, like you have a big rock or something over here. Like this here is over here, you could put a foundation on top of it with just a floating turret, just a chill turret, keep them off that rock. That's pretty much the idea of it, though. If you're lucky enough and you got a whole hive, this plan right here, if you have enough teammates, say you get a 3-man, you all get 4 terminals each. You can duplicate this tower here with the protection, as you can see. This will also be the radius of your aerial protection, the rockets. So they cross over quite a bit with this one. If you were to copy this tower on the opposite sides, now these corners here, you're gonna have to probably free place the I don't know how you would do that. Because these ones aren't flat on this side, they're cornered. You might have to figure out how to do these to get them to go to the side ones. But front and back, you at least have a direct way to close it off with the doorways, because that's what I'm worried about, is the doorways. And being able to zip line. If they were to take control of one of these towers, they'd be able to zip line over possibly. But I think if they break the terminal and take control of this tower, this zip line will break, so they can't zip line over. This will just give them a tower. And because you know that, you just aim for this rocket. Right? You aim rockets right for the center here. You try to break this, and then once area is cleared enough, you can try to break these 3 frames, and it should bring the tower down. And then I'll leave with just the turrets at the top. And once the turrets at the top are all done, the terminals still should be safe down here. If they get up here and get access to this. You can also put windows. I know I keep saying if you have the glass pack, but if you have the glass pack, you can actually put windows here. And the glass ones fold outwards. They swing up and outwards. So you'll be able to shoot down. Just depends on, I guess it's just personal preference really, which kind of windows you want to use. For some reason you can't break them either. Oh, there it goes. Alright, let's put just the default ones in and see how they look. Alright, default windows are in. You go into flight here. Change all of these to glass. There. Harder to door camp. Okay. So this is your tower. You got windows defending. Now you can open the windows up. Alright. Yeah, don't waste your trap placement, because I believe you only get 20. You only get 20, so make sure you're placing your turrets where they can cover the most. Alright, this is the layout. This is a general idea. Now I'll show you in practice on a custom server, a different one. Also, if you're new to Once Human, don't get confused by the main menu. They're just different types of game modes. There's Raid Zone, which is like Rust. Evolution Call and Prismverse are also PvP, mainly, but they're different styles. Prismverse Clash is you capture deviants, which are like Pokemon, and you return them to your base and purify them for 30 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on the rarity. That's that kind of PvP, so it's somewhat base defense. And then Evolution Call is more territorial PvP. You control areas on the map, I guess. Haven't really done a lot of evolutions. Alright, this is the main base and the server that I'm playing on, solos. And this is basically the same layout, but lived in and been lived in. So you're looking at your turrets up on top with your power and the water. My jump up's in a little bit of a different spot. Like I said, the inner side of your core is really up to you and how you design it. Plenty enough room. Spacious enough for a duo, a trio, even 4. You could have 4 people running around in here and not bump into each other too much. You got storage. Plenty of storage. Just got done with a run, so I gotta turn all my stuff in. Everything's got a good, decent amount of space for enough stuff. Little gun drop box. Get your wood, your gravel. I don't recommend skinning the boxes. Yes, they look better, but you deal with this. You can get to these, but you can't reach these. Like you can with these. It's weird. The hitbox for these is off. So I leave them default. Or you can use a bigger skin, but the smaller box doesn't seem to work very well. You can get up top. Look down the armor stands. All of it's accessible. You do the jump up. Now see, you can't jump up open single doors for some reason. You can use that information with what you will. See, I can't get into my locker room, so I have to go here, go over, kind of like a jump glide through it. Now this is what I did with mine. I did my deviant storage, a little bit of decoration. I got my boxes there. I don't have boxes underneath. I kind of pushed the bed up against it. A couple more deviant storage for deviants. And you got your rockets and stuff, your quick access stuff that you need to respawn. And we go up again. Oh no, this is where I put the TC in this one. So instead of going over there, go back around to this side. I have the trap off right now, but I have it set up to where there is a pulse trap that covers all the way around the inside of this. So they can't stand on this or close to it, and they can't stand on the backside because of the turrets. But I have towers out front with your rockets. I also have a little bit of foundation going around. It's easier to move around. Looks nicer. You get your turrets underneath of it with the wall. You have your above so you can look down inside, and then back to the wall with the door. Same thing on this side. This one goes out into this one. It's a little bit more built out on the bottom. It's also a little bit different on this side. So it really doesn't matter as long as you can line up your zip lines with your guard towers, your externals. You can set it up however you want, really. It's best not to stick with one set design, because people will figure out how to break it easily. This one here has a turret looking on the inside. So you can change it up a little bit. The walls aren't always going to line up, but I managed to get up until this corner here. Pretty much all of them pretty lined up in this one spot. I did have a vending machine up here, but you're really limited to what you can sell in Raid Zone. And for some reason you can't like sell stuff for chips, which are the main currency in this zone. The things that go in this bag here. But as you can see, yeah, see, you can't just stand on this. So all those roofs over there, you can't just stand on it. You have to spam. You kind of like have to, if you played Skyrim, you have to like Skyrim jump it. I like these peaks as well as the other ones that are on the other server. Because these ones here, you can throw nades down through. People will end up getting to your main wall. You can just start chuck nades down through. It's my little garden area. It's very modular. You can definitely, outside of that base, because the base uses so many builds to pancake it, or honeycomb, or whatever term you want to use, depending on the game you've played. Yeah, see? Traps keep you from being able to be right up close. They do about half health. So you get hit by it, take your whole shield almost, if you're max shield. This is with a gear set of a 4-piece lone wolf, 2-piece shelter. So you'll have pretty much infinite stam 99. Then you have your turrets. I'm using trees to kind of just a little bit, kind of cheese it and hide them a little bit. People will know they're there though. I also am using both sides for entrance. It's not as safe, but you get tired of running around all the time sometimes. Pretty solid build, I would say, especially for a solo. If you're going to be playing solo, this is probably going to be one of the stronger of bases you can build. And you just turn the trap on if you want the trap on up here. You should be pretty safe. I've had a couple people try to raid me, and it's been very unsuccessful. I tried to tower up on this side here. Turrets up top kept them from being able to get up on the roof. Turrets down low killed anything that fell down in. These zip lines just help a lot too. Somebody's countering over there and they're not paying attention, you can then get a cheeky angle. This one doesn't have the doors and stuff on it. I don't really need it too much on this side, so I didn't put them there. I have turrets on this here. I don't really have a lot of power because I'm running mining operations, so I only have a couple turrets on the inside, and then a MLRS protecting anybody flying in, just dropping in on the base. But if you're playing anything other than solos, this base design specifically is just fucking nuts, especially with towers all the way around. You could do towers in the corners too if you had enough people. Connect all the towers together. Pretty solid build, pretty solid build. It's been pretty good. And it's really easy to use too. It's very functional. In case somebody falls on your roof, slide down. Just enough distance to break your legs, obviously. I use this spot over here in this base as a log out area. Got a little bit of flame trap blocking this whole lane. Cook them up a little bit, and this is a log out spot. Let's see if there's anything going on the map. I don't think there is. I think everybody's off right now. Yeah, building protection, so I can't raid. Alright, well, we'll keep it short and sweet. We'll just leave it to the building tutorial and then the example of it being used, decorated, skinned. Can make it look real nice. All these down here are optional, like I said. You can open these up here and have, you know, put a door here maybe. There's still a couple builds left over on mine. I kind of move them around as I upgrade or change pieces. Plenty enough room for parking vehicles, a garage, a full farm. You can have a full farm. There's enough power for it. These are just for appearance. I would suggest you have double doors over these because they just have more health. They have double the health pretty much. So you could just go like this. Wall. Double. I believe I have enough builds to replace these. I was messing around with these earlier. Forgot to replace the doors. Here we go. And I also suggest growing pumpkins. Pumpkins give you more fiber per pumpkin. And I believe everything pretty much has the same grow time. So you just get more. You get more for pumpkins. You can use pumpkins for food that gives you hydration and food as well if you're growing wheat. So if you have a double layer or you have multiple people, you can do some wheat as well and do pumpkin pies. Pumpkin pies are pretty good. See, you can just pack all of it into a one by one in the tower. Hide a bunch of stuff underneath. Also, another tip, if you got mining rigs and they're not working, they're just not started, they only go up to 81. You only get 81. Get some Digbees. Digbees make them so they keep going forever until they fill up. Till they max out. See, it's 81 and it's like 81 every 48 minutes. These guys will keep them going. As long as you keep these guys happy, you give them, you know, red light, electricity, give them music. For some reason, my music isn't working. But keep them happy. I mean, you can keep these things going. And they'll just give you continuous amounts of iron and use the gas. Ooh, I didn't mean to go on that. Use the gas. This is a really good position in the map. Usually there's an oil rig here, but in Raid Zone, some of the oil rigs aren't placed down, so they leave flat areas to build bases. There's a couple flat areas similar to this. There's one there, there's one over there. That over there doesn't have an oil rig. I just stay away from too much of the higher elevation so people can't just glide down in on top of the base. Mess with stuff. Hence why there's a turret over here. There was one over here, but I ran out of power, so had to bring it back in. At least until I upgrade these to bio. I think I'm probably gonna upgrade bio energy so I get extra energy for more turrets. Yep. For solo, I mean, you can't ask for really too much more safe and secure, and I don't advise using any more than 3 of your territories. If you're out raiding, you're gonna want to have one of your territories free, because if somebody has a base and you can get to the terminal, you break the terminal, you place yours down, and you can reseal and defend. But if you don't have one, then it's left for you not being able to replace the doors, them being able to put a terminal down and box you into it, and then your raid's over. So try to keep one of your terminals free as an asset or a tool to use later on down the line. And I also cannot stress not using glass on your roof. You see how there's no texture and there's no print? You get closer, the print will show, but when you're out, and if those are glass, if you have these skinned to glass, you can see right through them. People can see you sitting on your roof. There's a big issue with render glitching in this game. People like to abuse the render distance. They'll sit just out of render distance, be able to snipe you through your builds and through your roof if they can see you. So try to use base builds when you're building your base, and like the walls that you don't want people to see through, just build them out of default material. You can use the orange, you can use, you know, these ones too, or whatever, but if it's any kind of like glass, the low resolution version of it, you can see right through them, so I wouldn't. The prints don't load as far as the build pieces do for performance reasons, so just to save you a little bit of getting camped while you're in your base. What's that? It's a base tutorial. It's a base walkthrough and examples of what you can do.